If you're someone who spent hours learning English from textbooks, but you still find it difficult to hold conversations on a daily basis, well, you're not alone. Well, the majority of English learners are learning English from textbooks, meaning they take English classes, they go to English classes, and they attend very attentively to each and every English classes they have, trying to improve their English and to basically eventually become fluent speaking English. This is a huge goal for the majority of people who are basically trying to learn a new language. When you want to learn a new language, you want to be fluent at it. But in English, most of the people go to take English classes, and the majority and almost all of those students, all of those people, when they take a test at the end of each and every monthly test of their English classes, they take flying colors in their tests. They're perfect, they're better, their grammar is perfect, their word choice and everything about their English, in terms of academic English, is better. But when it comes for them to speak natural English, to go out of their way to speak English on a daily basis, it is a big challenge for them. Now, you're not alone. I also felt like this when I was also learning English. I attended English classes. I even took a very expensive English class in my country, in my local province, in my country. And everything was cool. Every month I used to take flying colors at the end of each monthly test, and I was perfect in English. And sometimes I even impressed my friends, my colleagues, my peers, my classmates every time I took a test, because of my grades at the end of each monthly test were perfect. I was very good at taking good tests, and I was very active at it. But when it came to holding conversations naturally, clearly I was not good. I was very bad at some point, But at some point I realized that learning English from textbook doesn't make you fluent. Like, it is a good way to learn English. It is a good way to master yourself in terms of English in the academic zone, but it doesn't necessarily help you improve your day-to-day English. And you're not alone in this. Watch this video. I'm going to share everything you need to become fluent in English and the right strategies here. One of the reasons why you should start learning English from textbooks is that textbook English is based on formal and academic English. And academic English is something that the majority of English learners around the world are not trying to learn. Basically, academic English is not for the most of the people. It is only for people who have an office to manage, maybe they need English in their offices, or for the people who are engaged in academic purposes. They need textbook English. Basically, they need to have their grammar perfect. They need to speak every single word beautifully. They need to use every single word in their places without making a single mistake. Now, this purpose is for those people. But if you're someone who's trying to speak English and you want to be able to talk to native speakers in a natural, beautiful way, then you don't necessarily need textbook English. Why? Because, as I said before, native English speakers make tons of mistakes grammatically. They don't necessarily care about grammatical mistakes when they speak English. The only purpose that native speakers have when they speak English is that they try to convey their message, emotions, and thoughts and deep feelings in English. That's all they have in their mind when they try to speak in English. So, as I can say, maybe think of, the majority of English learners are not trying to learn English to be able to communicate in a formal way. Like, basically, simply saying, most of the English learners are not trying to speak English formally. They don't have this purpose. They're not trying to work as a manager in an office. Like, if you're a manager in an office, then you do need academic English. But if you're someone who is probably want to learn English in a natural way, to be able to talk with more people, because some people have this purpose of talking to foreigners, some people have this purposes of doing businesses, which really doesn't need textbook English. When you go into a business, when you go to talk to people, to negotiate about something, then you don't necessarily need formal English. All you need is a beautiful, natural voice and natural English skills for you to be able to talk to the person who you're going to talk to, who you're supposed to talk to make them or convince them of your product, if you're a businessman, to sell their product to them. So it is the only thing that you need, to talk to them and convince them. But convincing them means that you have to be able to express yourself deeply from within yourself without any shortages or any form of language difficulties. You should be able to express yourself formally, not formally actually, to be able to express yourself beautifully in a natural and beautiful way so that the person who's listening to you can get you 100%. So it is the only thing that it takes. So basically, eventually, all I'm saying is you don't need academic English to be able to speak with people, to make friends, and to be able to see more and more people, maybe online or offline or in person, whatever. You can talk to them, you can make friends, and it is a very easy way out. You can just learn English and talk to those people in a very natural way. And the way that you can build your natural English is through working on your day-to-day active practices of English, meaning you should go and listen to native speakers speak English, like on YouTube videos, maybe on vloggers or whatever people they are. Maybe you can listen to comprehensible input in English. You can listen to them to improve your English. It is a very easy way out. And learning English from textbooks does not actually make you fluent in English. And if your goal is to hold conversations and talk with native English speakers, you don't necessarily have to learn English from textbooks. Why? Because native speakers do not use textbook English, meaning people in English-speaking countries where, for example, America or UK or Australia, wherever that people speak English, and they don't necessarily use textbook English. In fact, textbook English contains a lot of grammar, a lot of grammatical rules, and everything about textbook English is perfect. It's perfect English, no mistakes, a lot of beautiful stuff that are in textbook English are not being used in native English and in day-to-day English that is spoken out there in native English-speaking countries. They don't use textbook English. And in fact, this is a very surprising fact, which is a lot of English native speakers make a lot of grammatical mistakes when they speak English. This could be surprising to you if you're someone who is trying their best to learn English from textbooks and make their grammar perfect, to not make a single mistake in grammar, to be perfect at grammar. If you're someone whose mindset is like this, you might be surprised. A lot of English native speakers make a lot of grammatical mistakes when they speak English. Whether you accept this or not, this is something that is taking place every single day. And you might have seen it. Some people don't consider grammar as a part of their language, as a part of their spoken language. They don't consider it. They just spit out words, try to convey their message, emotions, express their thoughts and deep feelings and everything in English. And necessarily they don't care about making grammatical mistakes. So if you're trying to learn English to be able to communicate with people in a natural, beautiful way, specifically if you're someone who's trying to explain their thoughts, emotions, and everything that they have inside in English, learning English from textbooks is not a recommended approach. You don't have to get close to that in order to reach your goal of fluency. It doesn't help in that sense. So what actually helps you to become fluent in English, to be able to hold conversations with native speakers, is actually you have to go out of your way and pick a right technique to become fluent, to reach your goals. Well, the technique could be like listening to a lot of content that native English speakers are engaged in, probably maybe shows or maybe some cartoons or something that you can watch, or maybe you're living in a native English speaking country. You can go there and hold conversations and talk to native speakers basically, and that's how you will improve your English in a natural way, matching your goal, which is becoming fluent in English and being able to express your feelings and thoughts just like a native speaker and be able to fluent in English. So you could be surprised, as I said before, when I said that learning English from textbooks does not help you become fluent in English, and it is a big fact. You should accept it, because I had to accept it in the beginning, because my grammar was perfect. I was very good at grammar, but when it came to speaking in English, everything was bad. I couldn't express myself. I had maybe a lot of shortages when it came to speaking English fluently. So I had to put that aside, learning English from textbooks, and I had to stop learning from textbooks, and I had to rely on learning English in a natural and easy way. And this is what you can do too. Just shift your mindset from learning from textbooks and bring it towards learning from natural way and natural content where English is being spoken naturally.